of a sudden I got so
Don't worry about the recording. I can cut out whatever we talk about.
No. Sorry.
No problem.
Ralph, Ralph, I think you heard that you were not on the support group last week, right?
No, I didn't make it.
And Kim missed it too. But I hope we recorded it. It was literally one of the very best ones we have ever had.
Yeah, I heard in men's club because, for example, that guy that was having difficulty with the walking, and they talked about hydro work, about water therapy and all that. So, and I
he came,
talked
the
to him.
guy from Ashland.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Do you have his contact information?
And him a whole bunch of
All right, give me his contact info if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll find it. And I'll get it for you later. All right, we're recording. So we're going to talk about adaptation and inward motivation. And if we get to it, maybe some successes and setbacks. I just wrote that down earlier, thinking that might be a good show. Anyway, all right, so let's get started. Hi everyone, this is Ralph with Stroke Warrior Radio again, and our Lene. How are you all doing today?
Good. Great. It's a great day today.
What's your word of the day today, Lene?
Miracles.
Ooh, oh, I like that.
That was my word for today. Every day I pick a word and I try to keep it tucked in my heart and you reflect on it each day. So today the word of the day is miracles.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, really cool.
I believe in miracles.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
I believe somebody's watching over us and those miracles come.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And stroke warriors can have a miraculous recovery.
Yes.
If they believe in miracles.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And they actually show up for the work.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I not to get religious on us all, but faith without works is dead. I think that's true. Doing the work and leaving it there, doing the work and just having faith that you have an extraordinary recovery. First of all, we are all alive. Bottom line, this could take us out so easily. And there's just obviously a reason that we're here, Do you want to start? Yeah, go ahead.
That's funny you say that, because that's one of the biggest topics we talked about in Men's Club this week is the alive part. So many people, die from strokes. Absolutely. And we're here. I mean,
right.
Those victories every day that we warriors achieve are first thing in the morning is getting out of bed. I mean, so many of us don't.
Yes.
Can't or won't, or unfortunately have passed away. So I mean, that's the first victory that we have to celebrate.
Yes, and that is the miracle of each day.
Yes,
that we are alive.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought about it earlier. Somebody told me a while back that most stroke survivors don't live more than 10 years.
Oh, well, I hate to hear that. I'm coming up on 10 years, and so is Lene.
And I can tell you, we're going to go a lot longer than 10
things they tell us
years.
That's a bunch of baloney.
Yes.
It's absolutely. I don't think either any one of us is going to ever stop.
This morning I was on the phone. Oh, sorry.
Okay, tell us.
Go ahead.
We're on the phone.
This morning I was on the phone with coaching somebody that had a friend that had a stroke. And this was a man that comes from a medical background, not a physician, but he was relating to me that his friend was just told by a physician that the recovery that she would get in the next 3 months is really all she would get.
Oh.
I just about jumped out my window because that is so false. And in this day and time, to have medical people telling a stroke warrior that,
Exactly.
it's just cruel.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it is.
how does that person even choose to be a stroke warrior when they've heard something like that from a medical person?
Yes.
You become a stroke survivor, you become a stroke tragedy. You can't, walk into, which is what we all have walked into, which is going past being a survivor into a warrior.
Well, and that's one of the things we need to talk about today is adapting to that. What are we now? We've been told by so many people, it's only going to last this month. You're going to be in a wheelchair the rest of your life. You're never going to be able to work again. All those things, and we have to adapt to it. So, I mean, what kind of adaptations have you guys gone through? I know I've been through a bunch, and when it's my turn, I'll share them. But
Well, I don't actually know what you mean when you say we have to adapt to them. What do you mean? We have to adapt to when they tell us false information? That can't be what you
no,
say.
we have to adapt to what we are.
Yes, we have to. Yes, we have to. Yes, with our disabilities, with our what has happened to us, what has, the changes in our life.
Yes. I mean, we have to adapt to the physical changes. We have to adapt to the mental health changes. We have to adapt to the family changes. The dynamic there is enormous. I mean,
yes,
I know people where their children are so overprotective that it's almost annoying.
It is annoying when I see something. Well, it bothers me, and I talked a lot to Lane about it. When I see somebody that's overdoing for their stroke survivor, because they're taking the opportunity for them to be a warrior.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
this is an interesting conversation. I think this is really cool. I think maybe we could talk just briefly about the choice to be a warrior. I think Kim just put it very well.
Yes.
You have to choose to be a warrior.
Yes, and that's the adaptation. I mean, at some point, something's got to click and say, "Oh boy, they were wrong." I can do this. It may not look pretty, but I'm adapting to it and setting limits for myself so I don't overexert, so I don't make myself too tired, because stroke fatigue is automatically there anyway. Why add things that's going to make it harder? It's an adaptation of, I set limits for the work I do physically at my job, those kind of things. I mean, you've been through those adaptations, right?
Yes.
Of course. Of course. Lane, you share.
I think I think adapting is a great topic because we've all developed little things that we adapt, and for all of us it's different. And it's really based on our lifestyle. And then we pick up little hints. One of the things that I picked up is really a small little thing for adaptation. But I was recently reading a book written by a stroke warrior, and the title of the book is With One Hand Tied Behind My Back. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. That's my stroke brain. With One Hand Tied Behind My Brain is the correct name.
Ooh.
And one of the tips that I picked up in that book was really carry a little pair of scissors. Now, I never really thought about that, but as stroke warriors, if we have deficits in our arm, frequently we use our teeth to open things. So I would maybe get a granola bar, whatever it might be, a small package of something, and it's hard to open with one hand. So I frequently would use my teeth. I chipped my teeth doing that. And then, so I had that fixed. But one of the things in reading this book I loved was just keep a little pair of scissors close by. It may be, in a bag when you're walking, on your desk, and how that will make your life so much easier. And I've done it, and it's amazing how much I use these little scissors for.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, that is. I
And
love that.
tell them about the knob on your steering wheel.
And so for me,
Yeah.
One of the biggest fears I had after my stroke was that I would not be able to drive again. And that driving myself around and that independence was so important.
Yes.
I thought, how will I ever live in a world where I can't get myself from one place to another without depending on someone? So I went to driving school and was tested for my skills. And one of the things that they taught me was you can use a Brody knob, which is a knob that's affixed to the steering wheel, and use that to drive with your one right hand and your right leg. So in most states, you may need to get a prescription for that. But if you don't, you can buy a knob, put it on your steering wheel. And I literally drive with the knob and turn the wheel and drive very normally.
Now, let me ask you, sorry.
And if I would not have found that, I don't think I could have driven with one arm.
Let me ask you, when you said right arm, what about somebody that I know that your deficit is on your left side, like mine. What if the deficit's on the right side? Can they use the Brody with the left arm, right?
Sure. In fact, I've seen several people that absolutely do that. They have a left side deficit.
Right.
They learn to maneuver that left arm, and they're able to use a Brody knob and drive.
Yeah, and I also see that a lot of places can adapt the car as well to change the gas pedal to the left side, change the brake, those kind of things as well. There's companies out there that do that help you adapt to be able to drive.
Yes. I think what I want to share about you, Lane, you talked about being a stroke warrior. I think what I want to say is, what is it like when because to be a stroke warrior, sometimes we're not a stroke warrior. We slip back into being a survivor.
Right.
Yeah.
And that we're talking about choice, right? And so I want to talk about that awareness that we must adapt with ourselves, saying, and that's that inner motivation. What's happening? Right now, wow, I'm feeling a little, like hopeless, just feeling like nothing's going to change, or feeling, things are insurmountable, or there's all sorts of ways that our mind can keep us in that survivor mode, as opposed to choice mode, because survivor mode doesn't feel like a choice really to me. But warrior feels like a choice. Like, wow, I'm a warrior. And so I have been walking in my warriorism now for a real long time. And I'm coming up on 10 years, and I have noticed that some no hope thinking started to, come in. Things aren't really changing. Well, this is it. You hear always about this, what is it called? Plateau. And I've never liked that word, plateau, because how do you just plateau and nothing shifts, right? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. But it started, coming in. It started creeping in to me. And I called up Lane and I said, I'm feeling a little something. And I'm not, I really need to talk about it because I'm not used to feeling this way. And I'm feeling like everything is really like I know how to get up out of bed and turn it over and get up and start going. I've been doing it all this time. But now I've come to understand I have to work triply hard right now, not doubly hard. And I have to accept, talk about adapting to that's just the truth for me right now. Will it change? Yes, it will change. And so I want to just say that I think this is part about being a human. And but self-awareness is so important for us. We can't always get motivated from outward. We have to see ourselves. How many people are going to say, hey, looks like you're struggling, you're going to have to work triply hard. I mean, they don't see our insides. We see our insides. Yes. We must learn to be truthful with ourselves and without judging ourselves. How do we perceive what happens with us without judging it? Because the judgment keeps us shut down. I was spending a little bit of time judging myself. Like, that's ridiculous. Why are you feeling, come on, get going. But I couldn't get going my motor. And I kept saying to my OT, I really don't feel, I said, are you sure that I'm going to get better? I said, I feel like it's my fault. I haven't been doing enough. And she's like, Kim, you are doing enough. But I knew I wasn't really working hard. But we were seeing changes. So I had to come to Jesus with myself and say, hey, you're right. You're not working as hard as you were. And that's because you're feeling doubtful that the hard work is helping. Now let that go. Surrender it. Because my result is not my business. That's God's business. My work is just show up. And so I think that's what I want to share, because anybody that knows me always sees me as the warrior. But I think it's good for us to know that maybe you're going to slip the warrior for a second, and it's a choice. Am I going to choose to be a warrior, which is exceptional, extraordinary, which is a miracle of stroke? Or am I going to just stay in bed, be, feel self-pity, feel angry? Or am I going to be a survivor? Look at those are three different things. A survivor just gets along, but are you really, really putting forth? So anyway, I throw it out to you guys.
And here's a question, Kim. As a survivor, are you enjoying life to the maximum?
No, I don't think so.
No, I agree with that.
I think that's the choice is being a warrior and stepping into your exceptionalism. Yeah.
And that can be hard. We know that.
Yes.
And, and I would reiterate what Kim said. So many times when people see the three of us, they think we're always positive and always up, and that we don't have hard yes. days or hard moments.
Yes.
And we certainly do.
Of course we do.
Yes.
Yes.
And one of the things that happens to me is those judgments I make on myself are based on the baloney that the medical profession told me in the beginning. This is only going to last 6 months for your recovery, blah, blah, blah. And that's my inward motivation is I'm going to show you, because there's so many times that, I think, you know what? I want to send a video of me walking right now or running on the treadmill. Ooh. Nobody ever thought I'd be able to do that again. They told me I wouldn't be able to do it again.
Right.
So there's.
Well, I think that's a good idea. What you just said, send them a video.
Yeah.
And not from an angry point, but from, hey, look what I've achieved. Even though you said I couldn't, please don't tell anybody else, because I'm one of the fortunate ones, because I'm with people that talk about being a warrior, and I'm a warrior, you know.
Yes.
I mean, it would
Yes.
be good to educate, because again, we started this whole program out with Lane saying about that person, telling them 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
And it
It's
does get
ridiculous.
in our minds. It, you know,
Well,
yeah.
and I think, I know somebody that was told they'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of their life, and that person sent the Just Say Yes to Life book to that doctor.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I've done that to a couple of physical therapists myself. There's somehow people have to stop thinking that that's all we can have.
Then we need
It's
to
like you said, we
continue
have a
to
choice.
educate them
Yes.
that
Yes.
this is bogus information.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
But, getting back to celebrating, Ralph, you mentioned how you're now running on the treadmill, how you're doing all the water therapy. I know you're off your cane, and I know you're doing construction work, physical construction work,
Yes.
and which is amazing. So I think when we have those kind of moments that we dip down, do you reflect on the progress that you've made, and does that help you?
Yeah, that's the main inward motivation I have, is like, look at where I'm at now. I sent you that picture once, Lene, of me sitting on the couch looking at 280 pounds.
Yeah.
And you said, that's not you. And it's not. I do celebrate where I'm at, and
Yes.
that's I think Kim said it before too, about the celebration. You have to celebrate those little little things, learning about the scissors, learning
Yeah, that's
about
fabulous.
back up when I was on the walker and transitioning to the cane. There's a little contraption you can put on a walker to hold your cane, that when you want to leave the walker, you take the cane, little teeny things, and those are the things that lead to the recovery for me, and made remarkable recovery. Well, in my mind, I mean, my God, these people never said I'd be able to throw a ball again, and I'm coaching my granddaughter's softball.
It's so beautiful. I saw a person and I don't know if they had a stroke. He was pretty old, but he was on like one of those walkers that you put your arm in. So I think it was a stroke. It could have been MS. It could be any, neurological disorder. Yes. I remembered back that I was on one of those. I was on that. And it's just so long ago now. You forget those things, and it just brought to me, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Look where you are now.
I know.
Kim, you've written a play, you performed a play, you teach. I don't know if everybody who's listening to this knows what you do, but tell them a little about how you've adapted to continue your teaching career.
Oh yeah, I teach piano. I mean, it's hilarious. I can't play the things anymore. I have one student that just plays better than I ever played, because really I was more about playing and singing. It wasn't really about classical music, but I've taught him to play beautiful classical music, and I could not play it, and I never got that good, because it wasn't really, I can teach it, but I can't do it anymore. And it's fascinating that I can actually, I don't have very many students, but, it's lovely. I'm very proud of myself that I, sit and I don't feel badly. I'm happy for them. I want them to, I just had a student, a singing student, and we were working on songwriting. And she was just at the beginning of starting to write her own stuff. And I remember when I was writing my own stuff and I didn't know what I was doing. And I said, and she was worried that she didn't know. And I said, of course you don't know. You've never written a song, but you're gonna learn by doing it. And that's the same as we learn as stroke warriors. We learn by doing, you know, and here's the other thing. I've really been thinking about this a lot. We have to not limit ourselves. You know, what we can't do, limit. This is not going to be possible. You know, I can't see it. You know, it's all right. You just go for being whole and complete. And if I've got, like, I feel inside, well, I feel healed. And people would look at me and they would see my deficits, but because I'm healed be within my soul and within my mind, I'm not, what is it called? I'm not determined by what happened.
Defined, yes.
I'm not defined by my stroke.
Right. Your stroke
I think that is so important. We can't let the stroke define us.
Right.
Because that's not, we aren't a stroke.
No.
We are still human people that were just like we used to be. We may present a little different.
Yes.
We may struggle with a few things, but we may also get a lot more joy and appreciation out of life after the stroke.
Yes. I mean, talk about just living, just appreciating life. I mean, again, because we could be dead, how amazing it is to breathe the air. It's the simple things. I think it just brings everything in life to perspective. And so if you can allow yourself, anything that I would want to give to anybody that listens to us when we talk is a sense of you are alive and you can do anything you set your mind to.
Well, and one of the things that you're pinpointing for me anyway, that you said, is you have to look at those things that are your inward motivation. I was telling you, for example, before, Kim, I was trying to find a picture so I can show you.
Yes.
I just got a picture of my oldest granddaughter who's expecting my first great grandson in November.
So beautiful.
It's the most beautiful picture I've ever seen. If I didn't do what I had to do, I wouldn't be here to see my first great grandchild born.
That's right.
You know, Ralph, that is so important. And I think it really ties into a little bit of thinking that we really have, if we love our families, we have a responsibility to do everything we can to be that stroke warrior.
Yes.
So that we can have that recovery and still have those relationships with our family and not be a burden.
Yes. Yes. And I will say our recovery for our family is not only, and for ourselves, okay, it's not only physical best that we can be, but it's emotionally the best we can be. You know, it's so important mentally that we're the best we can be. Yes. And if you have any spiritually, being grateful, thank you, you know, just absolutely knowing that you're alive and you're supposed to be. And if you're feeling, again, I think the biggest hole that we can step in is self-pity.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And nobody would blame us for feeling sorry for ourselves, that we lost part of our body, that we can't move, or that, or, you know, that we can't ride a bike anymore, or that we can't see, or that we cannot speak. No one would, you know, say, oh, how do they do that? But I will tell you, your life is here for you. Self-pity is just a trap, you know, and come to our meetings. I mean, literally, you know, I mean, step out of that. I mean, I get it. We've all felt it. whether it's long periods or just a moment and going, hey, for me, I'm like, you feel a little sorry for yourself now, honey. Come on,
And I think one of the importance of going to support groups and getting to know other stroke survivors is based on a 12-step model. If you go to a 12-step meeting, you want the new people there to remind you where you came from. I mean, that's the way I think
and
about
also, I think the service aspect, helping another stroke survivor,
Exactly.
just giving them a hug if you're if you're not on just an online, or just listening to them, giving them the courtesy, and then maybe saying something them to lift them up if they're feeling that self-pity, or sorry, or they're I mean, this is it. Service is a big, I think it's really something that has kept all three of us wanting to choose to be a stroke warrior.
Right, and it's a 12-step saying, but you can't keep it unless you give it away.
No.
And when you give it away, you start learning stuff about yourself, about your recovery, about other people's recovery, that maybe you can help somebody else.
Yes.
Maybe.
And we can be models for other people.
That's it.
Yes.
And I think, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think we're models for people that even haven't had strokes. They I mean, literally, they begin to go, wow, if they can, Lana and I will go into a restaurant and we're like telling everybody we had a stroke, and we're smiling and we're laughing.
As we walk in on our canes.
Right? And
yes.
We're walking on our canes, and they're seeing this. And I know that those people that we talk to leave feeling, wow, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yes. And we never know what people are dealing with in their life. Most of the people we interact don't have and not had a stroke, but they may be dealing with a medical issue,
yes,
a family issue. Life is so complicated for everyone.
Is. And everybody has something.
Yes.
Just being on the earth plane.
Yeah.
Very few people that are just, hey, I got the guy at the, I got the bank account, I got the job I love, and that lasts sometimes, but mostly it's something happens that shifts. And I think that's part of,
Kim, you have a saying that I love, and I believe that it is take the journey with joy.
Yes.
Would you talk about that a little bit?
That is, so when I first had my stroke, now I'm a meditator for a very, very long time. And I had the stroke, and probably within the first week or so, actually it was when I first got into the nursing home. So it was a week. I got there after 7 days in the hospital, and I had a meditation, and I came out of that meditation, and it just flooded in on me to take the journey with joy. It was totally given to me, I know, by God. And so much I know this because my husband came in to see me the first morning that I woke up in that nursing home recovery center. And he walked in and he said, let's take this journey with joy. He and I had gotten the same information. And so what that means is, like, I clean my house every week. So how do you take it with joy? I enjoy myself. I'm so grateful that I can clean my house, because that's very expensive to have. Not everybody can have somebody to do their house for them. I used to, but I don't have that now. And so I enjoy, I put music on, or I listen to a book, and I just go about my, and I'll stop and I'll dance a little bit. I'll go to the piano. Ooh, what's this song? And I freaking have a great time. That's taking the journey with joy.
So much of that joy is you can do it. And we pat ourselves on the back. I know. Yes. I mentally imagine patting myself on the back even when I've done some little task that I didn't know that I could do.
Yes.
It feels so good.
It's important too. I mean, that's what we've talked about it before. Celebrate the small successes,
Yes.
and that means patting yourself on the back. Lane came to my house. I go to her many times, her house. But I said, Lane, I just don't want to go out. Can you come to my house? She came and we sat out on my porch and it was so nice. And she got up, a couple of stairs, not easy navigating. But she did it. And she goes, I'm going to get this. I got this. And she was like, so I'm doing this, and it was not that one step into my house. There's this slip, and you have to, it's so funny. Anytime there's like newness, right? Mm-hmm. There's those little fears.
Yes.
That come in. And do we let them stop us? Or do we go, okay, I'm having a fear now. We talked about it. She goes, it's like, okay, this is not, but I'm going to do it. And you just kept saying that. And I was going, yes, you can do it. And it was like, boom. It was so great. And when you left, it was just as easy, but it was like, wow, this is so nice.
Yeah.
And the joy I got from just mastering that, maneuvering those stairs, and how I felt so good. My heart was filled. I said, wow, I did it.
Yes. Yes.
I know that many of the other stroke warriors that are listening to this can relate to that, because unless you've lived in these bodies, it's hard to imagine how going down 3 or 4 stairs can be so exciting and joyful.
Exactly.
I think it's beautiful. It's like being so present in your life. Right there in that moment, you're just like, this is fantastic. I mean, wow, I just did this. How many people go downstairs and feel joy? Not many, because we take what I think it's because what I hear is this is it. When we have strokes, guys, we realize how much we took for granted.
Yes. Well, and we're taught all our lives, goals, money, home, family, all of this. And it's not about the destination. It's about that daily journey.
Yes.
Those little successes that we keep building on. I mean, I've seen both of you make amazing successes since I've known you 2.5 years ago. I mean,
and you too. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you got to celebrate those little things.
Yes.
For me, that's where all of my inward motivation comes from. The little things they told me I couldn't do.
Yeah.
I'm doing.
What about you, Lane? Where does your inward motivation come from?
I think really from slowing down and just taking a quiet moment and realizing how blessed I am, in so many ways. I'm talking to you today from my office. I can drive, as we talked about, with my Brody knob. I can do those little things. I can go up and down stairs. And I think that's so much joy. But I want to share another thing that gives me so much joy. That is watching others that have just begun this journey and seeing their successes.
Yes.
I mean, it brings tears to my eyes sometimes when I see people at therapy. They're taking those few steps. I remember how hard those first initial steps were. And it brings me back to remembering what that was like. But also, I get so much joy in just watching them and the look on their face as they are mentally patting themselves on the back.
Yes.
And deservedly so. And that's part of the acceptance or adapting that I have to recognize that that's a success. I agree with you. I go to therapy and see people. I started a year and a half ago with this therapy place I go to, and now they're off their canes or they're lifting weights, or, it's like, oh my gosh, look at that. That's not what the doctor told them. It's over 6 months and look what they're doing.
And I think, again, for us stroke warriors, we realize how much work has gone in for them to take those few steps and how joyful that is for them.
Yes.
I'm not even sure their families realize.
That's probably true.
And that's, well, let me just say, this is why I truly know it's so important to talk to another stroke survivor, because only someone that's walked in your shoes can truly feel what you go through. And that's what brings such joy to me when we're around each other, because we can just look at each other and look in the eye, and it's like, you don't have to say anything. Yeah. You absolutely don't have to say anything. You just like get it. It's so deep. There's such a depth, I feel, to this journey where we're so incredibly blessed. I know it's solidified that knowingness in me that everything happens for our benefit. I know that.
And going back to Lene's sharing the journey, you said it too, Kim, is one of the things that I love going to therapy when Lene's there at the same time, because when people achieve those successes as a stroke warrior where we're at, we need to congratulate them.
Yes.
And she does that. I mean, it's so amazing. And the smile that comes on people's faces. I mean, there's a lady in our in-person support group. Whenever we say something to her, she just swells up. It's amazing how just that little compliment makes so much of a difference in their world.
Yes.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, when I came up here, that's one of the things that changed me. Is Lene did it first, and Keith and a few other stroke warriors. You all said, well, you're doing well, keep going. That made a difference. And I think that's part of the motivation I had, is the people around me recognized it and said, yeah, look at what you did. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's the absolute wonderful upside of the encouraging the other and the smile. And there's also when we are next to somebody that's sharing and starts to well up, and we've been around that, and they begin to tear up, and we know what that is too. And they know that we understand the emotion. Now I'm getting chills, the emotionality of having stroke.
Yes. And there's a lot of it.
To look at all the, this is just, it's fantastic. And I will tell you, the sincerity between stroke survivors is huge. You don't want to, there's no small talk anymore. It's chatting. No, you're not like, how was your day? Oh, it was fine. No, it's like, you are doing great. Or I mean, it's like really like, well, tell me about what's, tell me what happened to you. It's just sincerity. And I tell you, that's the greatest thing that we can give each other.
Well, and when you do that too, I mean, and that's one thing one of you guys did for me, is that you tell me, oh, you look good, you're doing well. And I don't feel that well. There's an ear that is sitting there ready to listen to you. I mean, I've had so many conversations with both you guys about what's going on in my life, and it's made such a difference. That is part of the reason you get involved with stroke survivors, stroke warriors, and stroke support groups.
Yes. And find yourself find yourself a stroke sister, find yourself a stroke brother, find yourself some friends. It does make a huge difference. It makes the journey, because your family understands, but my husband understands, but he still will look at me like I'll be walking towards him or something, and it's like he looks at me with a shaking his head, like, I can't believe this, that this has happened to you. And but it's like this look, and I don't get that from Lane. When I come walking, she's like, oh my gosh, you just, there's not a shook head. It's not like and I love my husband. He's been brilliant. I am not saying against him, but you understand what I mean. When family members, they feel for you in a way that sometimes it's like, well, I'm doing great. Why are you looking at me with you shaking your head? I'm like freaking amazing.
Yeah, right. Right.
And think of how easy it is for them when they see us taking this journey with joy.
Yes.
I think it makes those family members relax a little.
Yes.
And it helps them not be so down about what's happened.
Yes. Yeah, because that's the flip side, isn't it? That is the flip side. And again, like I said, nobody's going to go, oh, of course they're not happy. Of course they're sad. God, that's horrible if it happened to me. But it is really the gift of stroke for me is walking in my joy.
Yes.
That's the gift, saying thank you.
And mine's just the little celebrations that I have every day. I may make a list of 10 things to do, but I get 5 done. I'm celebrating because,
bravo.
5 years ago, there's no way in hell I could have gotten 2 done.
Right.
So, I mean, it's
crazy.
It's a little complicated. Like Lene said, life is complicated. We have a little bit more complication than most, but we keep on keeping on, right?
Yeah, and I have to celebrate those little victories. Keep that joy in our heart.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
We're about ready to wrap up, ladies.
Okay.
Anything you want to add?
Nope. I'm just grateful for both of you. Thank you so much for being in my life.
So let's take the journey with joy.
Yes.
Yes. And look for those miracles.
And look for miracles. Yes.
Yes. And
Thank
be
you both.
extraordinary.
Yes.
Because you can.
And it may look different than most extraordinaries, but it's still extraordinary.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much. You all have a great day.
Thank you both.
Thank you.